Okay, we're on. So it looks like we're on. We're a little bit late tonight, but so much is going on. So here we are, Dave, at your place at on the Central Coast, and we've been talking about what you've been going through with prostate cancer, and you were diagnosed how long ago?
March 2017.
March 2017. And what stage are you at now?
From diagnosis, it was what they call recent stage 4.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's metastasised into my hip, my lower back, and a couple other spots. One of the lymph glands in here. And yeah, so it's been a merry journey for a couple of years.
Oh, merry journey. So, what does that mean for you, like basically from the time you get up of a morning and, like medications?
It's way better than it was. The first year of putting those little pieces in the jigsaw till you feel like you're actually got some control back in your life of what's happening and even understanding it. It's really virtually, stay away from Mrs. Google because it's all the negative stuff just overpowers you. So we just, I've had my stages where it's been a little bit on the tough side. I'm in a really good spot at the moment, not only because my readings are low, but the chemo's working for me where it wasn't before. 3 lots. The first time I nearly went into cardiac arrest, and they said, we'll give you some stuff, and it was like Phenergan or whatever it was, and cortisone, and that brought me down. And next day they gave me that first, and then I had the chemo okay, and the second lot went in okay, but the third lot I started to feel a reaction come on again, so he suspended it. And then he just said, we'll give it a rest for 3 months, keep a close eye on things, because in the big scheme of things, even though it's active in the blood, it was still reasonably low. But they get concerned because if it doubles the reading, the PSA in a month, they need to get active before it does. So I got to that stage, and then we decided that we'll give something else a try, and at the moment it's working really well. It's slammed it right back into the zone. You wouldn't even begin to say that you've beaten it until you're like that for 6 or 8 months, but then you do the scans to see what's been happening. But the interesting thing is it hasn't grown any since they diagnosed me, so even though it's active in the blood looking for somewhere to put out, they're getting it in time, and it's doing what it has to do.
Because the thing, like I was saying to you, the thing was that you had this great big beard, like in your photographs and everything like that, and I said, oh, did you cut it?
No, that's the first time it's been off my face in probably nearly 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that feel, not having all that hair there?
How does it feel not having a chin?
Yeah. Well, I hear your wife really likes it the way it is now.
So,
you might just have to keep clipping it a bit, you think?
Yeah, no. Answer to that is no. Wild and woolly. Yosemite Sam when you're riding, that does me.
Yeah, and talking about riding. So, just having a bit of a chat to you one day recently about what you do with the bikes and how you raise awareness for certain things, but fundraising. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, what have you been doing? What's the name of this organisation that you ride with?
Just a very brief bit of background. It became fairly easy when we were living down south at Cobargo. I used to go to the pub, and the raffles would be booked in for each group each week, and I always end up doing most of it because people wanted to get the tickets off me. So Wandella Hall and the Cobargo Hall and this hall and that hall, we raised money to keep the 100-year-old halls going and renovated and what have you, and then I was in the Fireys down there, so I got into showing them how to raise a bit of money. And it wasn't that I was showing them anything, it's just that I had a little bit of drive, and I just did what I thought would work, and it worked. And so I joined a group down there called CRABS, Cancer Research Advocate Bikers, and that's the one I'm proud of both of the things I do, but that one in particular we've handed over nearly 400,000 in 10 years from a little fishing village, and Bega Valley's only got like 35,000 people. So you hammer them, but they love us. They just keep turning up, buying tickets in the firewood or the boat or whatever. And I learned enough out of that. I did a year or two as president to, just everybody's got to go through the motions, and the good thing with them is that you're only allowed to be in the chair for 2 years, and they've got to have fresh blood. And that keeps it fresh, keeps the ideas going. And So I brought that up here with me, and then when I saw Central Coast Kids in Need, saw a couple of ladies probably into their 70s now, and they're just tireless. They work all year for these chronically and terminally ill kids on the Central Coast, and usually they're picking up around about 160 chemist accounts. They're paying out well over, $250,000. $500,000 was the last count, I think. But yeah, it's big money that they're paying out to make sure these kids can have a parent stay with them at the major hospitals, John Hunter, or when Ronald McDonald's full, they also pick it up there, and these chemist accounts for the heavy cancer drugs and things. And
Yeah, because that'd be astronomical, wouldn't it? Their accounts at the pharmacies.
Really is,
Yeah, like for an average family. And I mean, it's bad enough that their young child's really unwell and has cancer. I mean, the fact that the financial side of it really impacts a family, doesn't it? So
even in my case, if I wasn't on the carer's pension and the pension that I've got 4 tablets I take later on, that they're $90 a piece. It's $360 a day. Like, who can afford that?
Wow.
So, we'd like to knock the government, but there are some things in place that make me feel like I'm not slipping through the cracks.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, for you, what ride's up next?
Well, the charity ride is where our main energy goes, because it takes most of the year off and on. That's where I was going with meeting the girls from. My son plays Masters footy, and I saw them handing over their meat raffle money to Central Coast Kids in Need. And I walked up to her. I said, "I think I've got a few boys that ride, and we might be able to raise it, Bob, for you." So the first year, we're doing it 4 years now, and the first year we raised 4,500. Then 18.5, then 23.5. This year we give them 35.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And we still kept 6,000 in the bank, so we actually made 40 something.
Wow.
That allows us to get the t-shirts going for next year. And it's so supported. No one says no when you ask for sponsors for kids. No one says no. I haven't had any cranky person. Whatever they can do at whatever level. If it's a business that can only give a $100 voucher, they're in. If there's any kind of resistance, we just walk away and don't go back. Like, they've got to be wholehearted about it.
Mm.
So yeah, that's our passion. We've between me and the crew that we meet on a Friday night to watch the footy.
Let's have a look at that. Can we see that shirt? Can we get that shirt? We're going to get that in.
Yeah, we meet on a Friday night and
Friends of the Creek. We've got that in. Friends of the Creek. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, and that's just a loose name we give it to sort of keep it. It's coming from somewhere separate from the kids, but it's going to the kids.
Mm.
So everything we make goes through the bank and out to the kids in one hit. And we just have a marvellous support. We had a little guitar player this year. He's 10 years old, like Taj Farron. He's so impressed with what we did. The bloke that makes our plaques made a guitar, and we got 3,000 at auction for that. So he goes up home about 100 metres away where he lives at Long Jetty, and he brings back a Gibson. He's got an exclusive little Gibson contract going on at 10 years old.
Yeah, because I was going to say that name rings a bell, Taj.
Yeah, Taj Farron,
Yeah, like he's really becoming big, isn't he?
Australia's Got Talent. He's in the finals next Sunday at
that's
7
right,
o'clock.
that's right. Mm-hmm. And he's only 10.
Yeah. And he's got a Gibson contract. Anyway,
wow.
Anyway, he gave us one of his guitars. It might not have been a Gibson, but he gave us one of his guitars and got another $3,000 for that. So people's generosity just wells up inside them, and they really support us. But it's been a bit hectic. We've made it a bit long with the auction, so we're going to make it more fun this year. And we raffle our Street 500 learner approved Harley Davidson. That's an instant $10,000 straight up that we make.
Wow.
And then this year, Two-Wheel Obsession got on board, and we got a PW50. So we're going to do the same thing again, but to take a bit of pressure off my wonderful volunteers, and they're amazing, amazing people. We're going to sell a few more tickets, like 1,200 Harley tickets, and maybe 500 instead of 300 of the little ones. And it's still amazing odds, It still gives plenty of people chances.
So how do people get in contact with you? If they want to buy tickets, or if they want to be a volunteer, or...
Well, the Facebook page would be the easiest way to keep in touch with the events, and the best way to support us is on the day. We try to make it kid-friendly with face painting and jumping castles. But yeah, on the day we're going around with buckets. If you ride, you can pay your rego, buy a t-shirt, buy a patch. We had hats this year.
So what's the Facebook page name? What's the name?
It's called Friends of the Creek.
Friends of the Creek.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we'll put that in our comments as well.
And when you see it, it'll have that
Logo.
Yeah, yeah. We did have another page, but it was a bit complicated. It was like Friends of the Creek supporting Central Coast. It was too long. And so this is our official page now that we keep going with.
Now we're just going to rewind a little bit back to our conversation a couple of minutes ago. And like you were saying that you're on a carer's pension and that's how you get your medication that's so expensive. And you're a carer for your wife.
Yeah.
And Diane's in the room at the moment, so we'll say hi to Diane. And what's happening with Diane and her health? Like,
she just fronts up every day. You've got to really push her to find out what's going on because she hides a bit. But her health is mostly around autoimmune stuff, and she's had a shocking couple of years, same as I have, and so we keep each other afloat, you know, stir each other up and tell funny stories. Tells me I'm funny without, no she doesn't. Funny without my hair.
she loves it without your hair, as you told
Yeah,
me.
she's all right. Yeah, no,
So-
so she's been fighting her problems pretty much most of our married life, haven't you, Di? About the lupus came on fairly early. Di had operations before her 25th birthday that women should wait for, and so one thing led to another, and her immune system was compromised, and every couple of years something different's come on, and she's just fronted up to it and said, right, you haven't beat me yet, you're not going to. So that kind of inspires me to take the same attitude as well. And then we got to, with her stuff, we've got to a point where we said, well, you can't go to that negative place. It doesn't help you in any way. It will just draw you down, and there's no bottom on the pit. It will just keep taking you down. So we've decided that whatever happens, we'll look for the positive in it, and we'll find a way to keep on doing what we ordinarily do. So I keep my training going, and Di gets up, and her bit of time to herself when she first gets up, she gets up a bit earlier than me because can't sleep that long with a back problem. She had a laminectomy when she was only young too, like 2 vertebrae were cleaned up way back that was about 25 too, wasn't it? Somewhere like that. Anyway, Di's little routine is to go out to the garden and just have a look at the succulents, and even if she doesn't do anything, she'll have a cuppa and just admire what's going on. And we've always been big on the natural side of things. When I was in Canberra, we've been up here about 10 years, but I've been mad on permaculture ever since I found out about the concept, and so growing something for ourselves is really important because you know the inputs, you know what you're getting. It's a little bit hard to do what we were doing on 5 acres in this little place, but, but that gets loaded up with flowers and veggies out the front window here, and so we've only just tidied up recently with the stands and the workbenches and things, but we're ready to go again. We're going to be putting some things in shortly. And
so the thing that's got you through, because I look around and I just see family, we've talked about family and, excuse me, like how important family is. And, you know, you seem to just have such a beautiful, caring family. And one thing in particular that you showed me was a little box, and maybe we can get Steph to pass that over. Do you mind if we share that? Because I think this is a really beautiful thought for someone that's going through a situation. Now, you can explain it.
just be careful, there's a few cheeky ones in amongst them.
Well, we won't read those ones out. But what's the idea? You tell us about the idea of the box. How did all that happen?
Well, when I started my first chemo, my daughter came up from Canberra for a week, and my son and daughter were both there, and it was interesting to see them watch me go through the wobbly and everything. But my daughter brought this up, and her boys and husband and everybody had all written on it, and so everybody else did once it got here. Dan and our little other grandson up here wrote on it, and then we've got a grandson in Nelson Bay. When he was down one time, he wrote a few things, and so pretty much anybody that goes by now
writes a little message for you.
Yeah.
So when you're feeling a little bit down.
Yeah, when you're feeling a bit down.
Yeah, you go into the box and pull out a little bit of a card and have a read.
Yeah, there's something Cubans thrown in as well.
To my granddad.
Their oldest second grandson, like the big boys, and then you got He's 12, and then you got the 9-year-old. So I got 23, 21, 9, and the 12-year-old. Yeah. So he's thrown his little bit in. Reading one out might be.
Yeah. Okay, read one out. Oh no.
Yeah, we won't be reading that one.
I think that was the one we read.
The green one.
PM me.
Oh, yeah. I'll pick one out and you can pick one out. Let me just see. Now, if it's...
Sunshine on a rainy day.
Oh.
Just reading that and knowing who wrote it, that's exactly what it does. Brings up a smile. And it's like I've been teaching Tai Chi for a lot of years, and there's things that affect your body chemistry. And if you don't believe me, just try it. Go from nothing to putting a smile on your face, and you will feel a chemical change in your body. You'll just, that feel good comes from endorphins.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And so, you capitalise on it, and that's what happens. For me, just looking at it, that's what happens. The endorphins get going, and I go, what can I be shitty about? There's nothing I can be shitty about today. It's like, good on you kids for even caring enough to do it, let alone what you're saying. Yeah, it's nice.
I'm just reading it first before I read it out loud. Okay. So, one out of about 50 that I've picked out. There's lots of stuff in this box that is light-hearted and designed to make you smile and know that everyone thinks highly of you. But just know that no one on the planet thinks higher of you than I do. Love you heaps, Dad. You're my hero, my Superman. That's
what it
beautiful.
does. Yeah, that's what she's like. And there you go. And there, this is her writing, and one of her nicknames when she was younger is Pongy. Not because she smells or anything, it's just a name she ended up with for a while, like Nicky or Cole. But just because she wrote Pongy was here, that taps a memory straight away. It's just, it's beautiful stuff.
What a beautiful idea.
It is. I love it. Happy face.
Happy face.
Yeah, so it's just full of them, and it'll probably get added to as we see people.
Well, I'll probably write a little message before I leave tonight, and so will Steph. So you'll have another couple of, they won't be R-rated ones, they'll be a bit, Did everyone hear that?
Hey.
I mean, you've got such a great attitude to life, and, like, I know that this is one of the things that you do when you're really down, and, like, also you're gardening, but when you, like, do you ever get, like, really, really down, like, on yourself and... How cool is that?
I allow, you've got to have, emotions are put into our hearts for a reason, and I think you've got to allow some space to cry, to be depressed, to be whatever it is, because if you don't, you're suppressing instead of dealing with it. You let yourself go into that space knowing that you're not going to let yourself stay there. So for me, I'll pull me boots up, me socks up, however you like the expression. I will do something about it within an hour or two of going, because it already in that short time where you start to go there will start to drag you down. So the other side of it is just, it's full of shits and giggles. It's just, life is good when and I also have some strong beliefs too. So with whatever happens, I don't think this is the end of the story. And I don't say that I'm a religious man, but I've certainly tried to build a spiritual understanding of myself. And part of my ability to cope with things is, with 25 years of teaching Tai Chi and learning Tai Chi from my teachers, the Eastern philosophies, they just give you the understanding of why you need to be in control of your emotions so they don't control you. Anger's another one. Like, they talk about if you're angry and you throw a hot coal and someone catches it, who gets burnt?
That's right, because you're holding it in your hand.
Yeah, and if you catch it, you get burnt too. There's nothing good about that. So being aware of it and being aware of the negative consequences is another way of not wanting to go there too. So I just allow it to pass through, and then I go, that's enough. And also, if I look like I'm going a bit silly, they'll talk to me about it. Hey, come on. So we sort of bolster each other a bit as well. And it's not like we don't have angry shot about it. Sometimes we say, oh, you know, would you hear die or myself? Either one of us say, oh, geez, today, of all things, you know, and then you go, well, let's move past that and see what else is in store. And the thing is, when you talked about the double amputee that you might be interviewing, the fact is there's a lot of people out there that are way worse off, and their struggles and their struggles are ongoing. For them to even try and find that space, happy space, it's a real challenge. So for me to know how not to get into the negative is probably paying a bit of a tribute to those people that are having their battles. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, another thing I learnt is chemistry. That I've had students come to me and I've given them the challenge. You can come angry, sad, whatever you like. By the time you've finished your session and your endorphins are flowing, you'll have a smile on your face every time, because that's the kind of autonomous stuff that happens in your body that you don't have control over. Yeah, but you like the result. So liking the result has made me want to go to that place more often. And the other thing they say is there's no problem that you'll ever face that doesn't have a solution. The interesting thing is if you take the right attitude to it, is finding the solution. Even in the training, there was always some hard stuff to learn, and you go, I'm never going to get this, never. But you do, you keep at it, you persevere, and all of a sudden you realise, yep, that problem's solved, let's move on to the next one. So it's almost like I've reached a point in my life now where, throw the challenge, I'm ready. Not straight away, please.
Good reflexes.
Yeah, you know. So that's
it's all about, like, to you and to most people, it's all about attitude, isn't it? Just adopting the right attitude, because you can get through anything.
Absolutely.
You know, adopting the right attitude and being positive about your choices, and you know, and I think the other two is sharing the load also. If you've got someone that's close to you, that how important it is to, you know, express what's happening in your life and express how you feel and share that. Because, you know, I mean, the both of you are in this situation, like health-wise, so it's a constant, you know, and if you don't talk to each other about it and communicate, you know, how are you there to support each other if you're not communicating?
That's it.
You know, because it's easy to hold stuff in because you don't want to worry the other person or you don't want to hurt them. But it's so important to release all that and tell the person exactly what's going on in your world.
And we're an open book to each other. Like we're coming on 47 years, Dave.
Something like that.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
47 years.
Yeah, we've been through the rough stuff and decided this is how we'll make it work.
Yeah.
And I've always looked at relationships like a statue. Every time you have an angry shot or an argument, you're chipping at the foundation. You're not knocking the head off.
Yeah.
So your relationship will have nothing to stand on if you don't do something about it, and it needs two of you to do it. So,
And that's a good way. That's a great way of looking at things, because that's so true. And like you're saying about the coals, you know, like it's no use holding anger. Like, you know, you're going to catch that coal, that hot coal, like it's anger. You know, here we go, catch that. It's not like you can be angry at that person, but you're the one that's standing there holding it, burning your hands over it.
Yeah.
So best to release that too.
Well, we have a bit of a chuckle. I do me a little bit of road rage when I see you just on the roads, and then as soon as I'm finished, we have a laugh. You idiot! And then we just have a laugh about it, you know. Like,
Well, you've got to do that in life, haven't you?
Of course you do. And the other thing that's helped me a lot too, and I know this sounds a little bit corny, but
Nothing sounds corny to us.
over my life, I've found some amazing sayings and printouts, and Desiderata's one of them. Like it's go placidly amidst the noise and
Yes,
bustle.
I know it will.
Another one was Desmond Tutu talking to a press conference one time, and he said that none of us have it all together, but together we have it all.
Oh, that's so true, isn't it?
Yeah, and then the other one that I really like as well is the same as Gandhi: be the change you want to see. So if you don't like the world, get off your ass and fix it. It's going. We're moving into sort of fairly rapid times and wild times, but when you look at it, I look at that and I go, well, my world, that's not really gravitating. If that's one planet and I'm the other planet, that's not. It's out there. I hear it on the news, but when between my friends and my circle of activity, there's not many angry shots going on. There's not many people that want to break into houses and do silly things, as you know. So, yeah, it's really, you can cave into the message that keeps firing at you, or you can just go, well, that's interesting. That's brought me up to date. So yeah, all those things shape your attitude.
And like you say, you know, it's about working together.
Oh, 100%.
You know, it's about having a great team, like you were saying before, like all your volunteers, and then we've looked at marriage, and that's about teamwork. You know, so it's so important to have those other people around you and work together to create, and, you know, just to be loving to each other is very important.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just the most amazing thing, is to love each other, be mindful of each other, and, you know, like look out for each other that way. Look out for your neighbours and look out for people that you care about.
Yeah.
What does it take? One phone call? You know, to check up on someone and make sure they're all right?
Oh, 100%. That's all it takes, you know. Like, you just got to sometimes see what you can do. And it's, you know, sometimes I think we're so busy, we're so afraid that someone's going to get us even busier, but it's not the way it happens. The reality is you put your hand out, you're going to get far more back for putting your hand out than...
So true, isn't it?
Might be warm and fuzzies, but that's gold, you know. We're so geared up and so cultivated towards the material that at the end of the day, good luck if you've got the material possessions, but if you haven't, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
You know, for us, for the whole family, the relationship stuff's pretty important.
Yeah, if you had to make the choice between money and family, you'd choose family hands
Every
down.
time, 100%.
And like, you know, a lot of people in your position, as far as health and your wife not being well, would, you know, say, well, okay, we're not well and I'm going through this and we're just not going to do anything. Like, you won't be doing any of the charity work anymore. You won't, like, they fold away from everything. And, you know, sometimes, you know, if someone is really unwell, yeah, I think, well, they have to take that step down. But, you know, you've continued to do beautiful stuff for other people, and, you know, you feel good about that, you know, and that makes you feel warm inside, and it certainly creates great energy. And
I could tell the last ride we did, I was exhausted, so I farmed out some of the work, you know, and I made sure I had that week, chemo week to myself, did nothing except my training and whatever. And I nearly exhausted them. They didn't realise exactly what had to be done, and so we were going into a new tack this year to not burn out any volunteers. But yeah, it's just self-care is really important. But
it is in any instance, isn't it? So when you say training, is that your Tai Chi that you're talking about?
I went down here to a massage guy a couple of times, and I've had major problems with my back. And what he did was discuss his ideas, and after 2 years or so of visiting him, got off the table. He actually had a couple of severe accidents, and he's been training me as well in his form of Eastern stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And now that I've been training with him for 6 months, I can feel when I work with him that he's every bit the level of my teachers down in Canberra. So, you know, he knows his stuff, and he's got a lot of, it's simplicity, and we overlook simplicity sometimes, but he does. His whole thing is about getting your spine right, and everything else will follow. If you've got flexibility in the spine, you'll be walking upright a lot better when you're older, and that's my main motivation. But I actually want to learn a walking stick form as well.
You're pretty upright. Like, how tall are you?
6'8".
6'8". Like, you know, I remember a friend of mine said, give me a big hug when you see him, but you'll need a ladder. So I just go, yeah, righto. But, I mean, when I saw you in the driveway, it was like the guy out of Game of Thrones, you know, that big guy. I can't even think of his name now. Like, I'll tell you next week. I'll find out what it is. I'll let you know. So it was just incredible. I'm thinking, wow. You don't realise how tall someone is until you stand next to them.
That's it.
You know, it just... in life, though, to me, it's all about, with you, I feel that it's all about, you have a greater understanding of, like, with your Tai Chi and thinking that way, and more kind of spiritual sense of how, like, you know, I'm trying to get the words out here. Help me out.
Well, some of it relates to the Eastern philosophy of life, but the other side of it is bringing things back to basics too. Like we overcomplicate our lives, and we actually speed things up too much, and that's not healthy for us either. You know, it's one thing to have a big house, but if you both got to work and commute to Sydney and come home and be tetchy with each other because you've done 4 hours driving each day, you know,
too late to get home to cook the meal, and
you're
hardly ever there to enjoy the house, and you know, you're better off just living in a smaller house and being truly and really in love and spending that time together and going and doing beautiful things together with that extra time instead of.
But we delude ourselves. We tend to think we can manage, and statistically we aren't. The medical system will tell us that there's a lot of stress-related stuff going on. So and it's not an awakening that happened overnight. These are all little things I've built in and built on until I got to a point where I'm starting to know myself a lot better and happy with where I'm at.
And that's important, isn't it?
Oh, it's
like
100%.
to go within and love who you are, and you know, to understand who you really are and what the things in life are that make you happy, that are so simple and achievable.
And I think it's ongoing, but you know, it certainly is. That's the first thing: simplify and slow it down a little bit.
So every week when I interview, I always ask my guest, what would be a message of hope that you would give someone out there that's either living a similar situation as you, or have gone through a similar health scare as you, or you know, living a similar circumstance, or know someone that has, or someone in their family is doing a similar thing. What would be a message of hope that you would give that person?
I would say first and foremost, don't give up hope, because I know in my journey there's been times when you go, I don't know how long I can keep put up with this. But you know, sometimes the answers are very simple too, and I'll get back to you what you said there in a minute. But like when I first started on this latest lot of tablets, I went off my food, and after a fortnight of just a cup of soup and different things, not a lot of stuff going on in me belly, I'm thinking I've got to get some nutrition happening, or otherwise it's going to beat me. And even the oncologist said you need to keep a little bit of condition, because that way we can keep ahead of things a bit. And I rang up the liaison cancer nurse at the cancer centre where I go to see the oncologist, and the simplest of things, she said, why don't you have your chemo tablets at night and have that effect going on while you're asleep?
Something so simple.
First night I did it,
yeah,
hungry as a hunter the next morning.
Yeah.
The horse got scared and so did the jockey. Yeah, no, it's just amazing. And I think it would have taken me a long time myself to arrive at that conclusion. And that's what I mean. We don't have it all together, but there's trained people out there. So never think you're alone, and never let whatever your problem is define you, because it's only part of what you're going through. It may define some of what's happening right here, right now, but I guarantee the situation will change. And in 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, it'll be different to where you're at now. So if you let it define you, it's going to take you down that negative path, and it's hard to recover from. And the other thing is surround yourself with what you need to do. You know, you'll get a lot of people going, oh, you poor buggers, and you know, sympathy without relief is like mustard without beef. You've got to go, well, not sympathy, come and say hello while I'm still alive, and don't you know, anyone can come to the wake, but I'd rather see you while I'm still kicking.
Yeah, exactly.
And I intend to be kicking for a long time, so just keep the friendship alive. But so the basic thing is don't let it define you. I really think that brings a lot of people unstuck, and once you hit victim mentality, it's really, really hard to get away from. So that's where and I would say keep the support. You know, people want to give us support. Don't close in and close ranks and keep it all close to your chest. I find people do find it hard to talk about. Sometimes I go to see the boys and my friends, and a couple of them are really approachable about it, and others are kind of like, yeah, not sure, don't want to talk, or it's not that they don't tell me they don't want to talk, but they're kind of going, well, I'll just keep observing, and I'm there for you, mate. Let me know what you need. But yeah, a don't want to talk about that. So, you know, in terms of getting the message out there, don't be afraid to talk about it. It's like depression. It's the stigma disappears when everybody's open about things. So, yeah, and I think that could be really helpful, because I also know from the cancer research bikers that statistics are changing. When my mate started that group 20 years ago, 1 person in 4 was likely to get cancer of some form. Statistically now 1 person in 2 is likely to get cancer. So that's a scary thought in any given room. You know, it's just, so yeah, do what you can, find out what you can, and stay on top of it by saying I'm more than this.
Yeah.
That's how I would approach it.
That's a great message. So that is a really great message. So, you know, it is about sharing the load. Like, it's about, you know, if you've got something on your mind, don't keep it inside. Like, try and find that person that is special to you. And if you haven't got that special person available to you at that time, ring organisations like Lifeline. There are organisations out there that'll listen. You know, try and find that beautiful person that's been in your life, whether you've just met them, whether they've been there all your life, you know, but share that message, share that, get it off your chest basically. You know, don't be afraid to tell someone how you're feeling, because it's really, really important to get like that, to release all that from you. So all the beautiful people that support me each and every week are quite amazing people. So just some of them that I'll say thank you to is Sharon Sharp, Michelle Wilcox, Debbie O'Donoghue, Margaret Moffat, Dana Lee Trimble, Anne Egan-Plazier, Melinda Carmen, and we've got Sian Green, thank you Sian, Beck Cassidy, Chris Rourke, Wayne Lennon, Emma Louise Mason, Yamini, from India. Yes, we've got a couple of people from India watching tonight. And don't forget to go to Friends of the Creek charity ride on Facebook.
And Twitter as well.
And Twitter as well. So, you know, support these guys. Like, it's a great, great charity ride. So, I'm looking forward to saying hi to all of you the same time next week, and I'll be on time next week. So until then, it's goodbye from me, and thank you so much for joining in. And no matter what in life, don't give up and know that you're going to be okay. So what do you reckon? Know that you're going to be okay. Thank you, everyone.